First, a few words from the chairwoman of this segment here, Brigadier General Sharon. She's the former commander of the IDF National School of Communications and is formerly a special advisor to the Chief of Staff. We are happy to have you here, Sharon. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon. From smart cities to smart spaces, this is our panel. And a few words. The loads on the municipal systems are growing, and we are witnessing transport load and traffic jams, an extensive system of waste removal, increasing energy consumption, and the pursuit of energy efficiency. Policing and enforcement capabilities, all of this required renewed administrative assessments at the municipal level. A smart space is one that will bring about optimal management and technological change. Through technology, we will be able to treat space holistically and with the aim of improving the fabric of urban life and enabling a well-developed entrepreneurship based on information technology. It is not just a smart cities, but a smart government and management, a smart economic, smart transportation, and especially an environment that works smart and allow decision makers at the municipal level to act in a smart way. This is a complete management concept that includes a wide range of services and is based on the involvement and partnerships of the citizens. A smart cities at its best will create an urban ecosystem designed to three vectors. One, creating economic competition and growth. Two, improving the system of services for the civilian. And three, making information accessible and transparent. Smart cities are naturally based on big data technology, Internet of Things, and more. It is very valuable that as the environment becomes more networked, based on more cameras and sensors, and contains extensive information and documentations to increase manager effectiveness. But at the same time, we challenge our most basic values like the society values, democracy, and the ability to protect citizen privacy. So we can start.
Let's start and get to know our guests here. We'll start with you, Igal. Please introduce yourself and your company.
Good afternoon. My name is Igal Dvir. I'm the VP Technology and Products at BriefCam. BriefCam founded at 2008 and acquired 3 years back by Canon is a video analytics company driven by AI technology. What we basically do, we take video which by nature is unstructured data and is not searchable, and we extract all the relevant data information, basically different types of objects, mainly different types of objects, in order to make it searchable, actionable, and bring everything into a database for a variety of applications, either investigation, real-time alert generation, as well as collecting BI for planning.
Okay. The other Sharon?
So first of all, hello everyone, and thank you Sharon and Jacob for inviting me to speak and raise awareness for data protection in smart cities. So my name is Sharon Azarya, and I'm Head of International Affairs in the Privacy Protection Authority.
Here in Israel. You are going to protect our privacy. Okay. Avi, you're coming from Tel Aviv Municipality.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Avi Nativ. I am responsible at the municipality of all the communication network, cellular network, and radio solution for security.
Okay. Last but not least, Boris.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Boris Goffman. I'm VP Sales at Oosto. At Oosto, we develop algorithms for the identification verticals and different solutions for the identification market. We use different types of algorithms like face recognition, body recognition, object detection, etc. And yeah, we see great value and great capabilities in urban environment for these technologies.
Yeah, so let's start with these technologies so we understand what we're facing, okay? Back to you, Igal. What exactly do you do? How do you, manage to identify people, movements, all these kind of things that we've seen in the exhibition here?
Yeah, so basically, cities have in place CCTV networks already. With using video analytics technologies, basically we enable them to better leverage this investment of video that is everywhere. The way we do it is, first of all, by enabling them a much more efficient investigation, a way of investigation. So, for example, they can now accelerate it by just using algorithms that extract different types of objects, such as people, vehicles, scooters, bicycles, and so on, including different attributes for those different objects. And now they can just search automatically for a person with a blue shirt that was walking on that specific walkway, okay?
Yeah.
Now, that's it. Instead of going and watching hours of video that requires a lot of human resources, right? Another way is to, for example, review in a city, smart city environment, is to basically review the way subcontractors are operating within the city. So, for example, you want to make sure that the garbage collector vehicles are not using, the streets while everyone are bringing their children to school and generating traffic jams. So
Happens in my neighborhood every morning, yeah.
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a very common problem. And by the smart algorithms that we are using, you can actually review and really improve your operation. So that's a few examples for investigation. Another way of leveraging video is in real time.
What about recognizing people specifically?
So yeah, so recognizing people is definitely a very efficient tool for a lot of applications.
Can you do that?
Yes,
With
we
your
can do that.
technology?
We can do that.
So you know this guy was and this woman were there, and there.
So there are two ways of using face recognition, okay?
Are you listening, by the way, from Tel Aviv?
Yeah.
It's coming your way, yeah.
So there are two major ways to do it. One way is to use a kind of a list. It can be a white list of workers. It could be a red list of let's say, offenders. And you basically look for those people while monitoring everyone that they're going through a camera. I guess a typically raised question is, what about the privacy
Oh,
of people?
yeah. Well, wait for that. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
So this is the kind of stuff we see in China already being implemented.
Well, in China, normally what you see is systems that are collecting all that information and keeping it. There is a way to use those technologies without keeping that information. So, for example, anyone that goes through the camera, for example, if you're looking for comparing him to a kind of a list, okay? If he's not in the list, you don't keep his information. So that's how you don't really infringe his privacy, right? So that's one way of handling it based on different privacy regulations. Another way is by using a technology called face matching. So, for example, if I want to use this technology to improve my operation, I want to see how many people are moving from one place to another in the city because I want to plan my public transportation better. Okay, so you can basically collect information from different faces, compare them, understand that some people moved from one place to another while keep their anonymity because you don't really know who they are. It's basically just like Waze. How Waze knows the traffic within the roads, they just track people, but they don't know who they track. So in the same way, you keep anonymity of people, track those people, enabling a better operational efficiency within the city.
Okay. Boris, what can you offer to this?
Yeah, definitely. So these are very good questions, and it is a hot topic because we do see that technology already today enables you to do everything that...
Give me some example of what your company does.
So, so as I said, we do identification. So we have the capability of, similar to what BriefCam does, to be able to look through a camera on an individual, compare his facial data to a list of facial data. By the way, the list doesn't even have to have real pictures, something that we as human beings, look at. It can be just mathematical representations, which will not say anything to any of us, just for the computer. But definitely the idea is to be able to identify the person in front of you. So this is what the technology does.
So basically, each face of ours is a mathematical formula?
So the way that the algorithms today, I think most of the solutions are working on the AI-based solutions that are developed based on deep learning capabilities. Yes, so basically the system is looking at the face and representing it mathematically.
Okay. Sharon, Azarya, let me remind you, she's from Israel Privacy Protection Authority. You're hearing and listening to this. We've lost our privacy a long time ago online, but now is it going to happen on the streets as well?
Well, I can say that my colleagues here are very excited about this new technology. I can say this gives great headache to regulators, for us and regulators around the world. We are not enthusiastic about facial recognition technologies at all. There is a scale of usages of facial recognition technologies. Not all of them are bad. Not all of them have bad consequences, but you have to design the systems in a way that will increase privacy. So first of all, some usages are fine. For example, if you use a decentralized mode, okay? So you have your phone and you have your picture here and you have your unique identifier, the template of your face that Boris was mentioning, and that's okay because it's on your device, and therefore the privacy risks are not that bad, and it's even nicer if you have like a gaming console and it identifies you and it doesn't go to a server, it's only on your computer or your television, that's okay. But when, first of all, Boris says, oh, it's nothing, it's not your face, it's just a template. So the template is actually a biometric identifier. And with biometrics is sensitive information because biometrics are a unique identifier. And sometimes when we want to identify, we have a code, or we give the 4 digits over a credit card. And if there's a leakage, if someone got hold of it, then fine, whatever, we can just delete it. We can have a new code or a new credit card, and that's that. But your template cannot be changed, and if it's leaked or there are data breaches, and this information comes to the wrong hands by unauthorized access to the database or by hackers, then this information can be used for identity theft or extortion. So we look at biometric data very seriously. We consider it as sensitive information which needs to be protected. Now, with regarding to cameras or CCTVs with a facial recognition algorithm that produces those templates, it's very problematic, and I can say that...
But they said the same thing about CCTVs. Now, every major city has CCTVs. The next step is face recognition. Who's going to stop it?
Yes, I agree. And we actually have policies regarding CCTV cameras. We issued those policies maybe 8 years ago. But when you add AI technologies to it and you produce this biometric template, and now technologies are, my colleague here was talking about matching with databases. For example, when we talk about law enforcement, and this is something that really concerns regulators around the world, and in many jurisdictions this is banned, live facial recognition. What does it mean? You put a camera that analyzes your face in the public sphere. Now you want to find a criminal, or you want to ban entrance to places, for example, people who have prior offenses in, I don't know, like soccer games, whatever, and you want to ban their entrance, okay? So you have a database with a watch list of people that you want to identify. But you put the camera in public space. And when you do that, you capture the faces of all individuals, not only for innocent individuals. And therefore, you create a sense of surveillance. So when people walk in the public sphere, and those systems are installed in demonstrations, for example, like you've talked about China and Hong Kong, demonstrations, or worship places, or health clinics, or places of gatherings for LGBT community. So this creates, first of all, surveillance and a profile about you. And it reveals very sensitive information that we do not want to reveal about ourselves. And it will also create a chilling effect on our ability to exercise our freedoms for movement, for religion, for demonstration, for speech, whatever.
Right. Hold your thought.
Okay.
I'll get to you too, but let's go to the city. Considering all this, they come to you. What do you
Yes.
do?
We are more conservatives. Even the big Tel Aviv is more conservative. We are more approach to the Sharon thought. And you know, that's a big ship to move. So without regulation of privacy, we cannot do a lot of things in the world of camera. We have 200 lawyers that strictly order to raise all
But
the
he
photos.
can solve my problem. I have this garbage truck every morning. You know, I stand outside for an hour for the school to get, you know, the kids to get to school, and the garbage truck blocks the street, and he can offer a solution. So why not helping me?
I think that we have a lot of use cases that Igal or Boris will help us, but when I invite you to come to Tel Aviv Municipality and show your technology, but until now we are very conservative.
Right, but eventually it's going to be a question of checks and balances. What's the positive? What's the negative?
Yeah.
How do you? What's the process
spread,
even? Are you equipped to make this process at all?
To handle the city, we spread also 2,000 camera until now in all over the city. But we don't take the photo, we raise all the material. It's helped us to arrive to events of security fast and make closure for the security or the police or firemen, guys to arrive to the scene and finish these events fastly. But we are there now.
Okay. Let's talk about the positive sides of this after all. You know, if you want to catch criminals, offenders, terrorists, whatever. So give me the upside, Boris.
Yeah, definitely. So of course, when you think about face recognition, for example, the first thing that comes to your mind is security, like you said, terrorists, criminals. But there are tons of other use cases for this technology, which, to be very honest, worldwide even, the use case of security is not the main one. There are a lot of use cases for experience kind of solutions. I can give you an example. If we're talking about a city and you want to locate a person because he is lost. For example, let's take a lost child or a lost elderly person, right? We hear these things in the news. It's maybe not so common, or maybe it doesn't come to the news so often, either that or that. But these things are definitely the use cases where this kind of technology can help, and not only help, it actually saves in manpower, time, efficiency. So this is more on what you are asking. But if I can comment, I actually completely agree with Sharon and Avi on the regulation side. Definitely, I agree with you completely that face recognition is biometrics. There is, we can, there is no other way going around it. And the main thing, which I think we both agree, is that the answer should come from the regulators. Because on one hand side, the technology is here. On the other hand side, the users, they understand the benefits of this technology and how it can help them. But as Avi said, we are conservative because we don't know how we can use it. And that's the main thing which we at Oosto, and I believe Igal at BriefCam, we all encourage governments, regulators to provide these foundations, how you can use it, where you can use it, where you cannot use it, which is also very important because you have the city, you have the airports, you have the different businesses that understands the benefits, but they don't know.
Right. So you prefer to know where you are in terms of regulation. Give us the regulation. It's better than not now knowing and have your customers just waiting for somebody to decide, right? Is that it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's important also that those regulations will be defined together with the vendors, because many times a good understanding of the technology enables you to really put the line where you can still use the good stuff of the technology while without paying the problematic fines. For example, we talked about biometrics, and it's unique for faces. But by the way, in the most technologies that are doing it, it's unique for the specific engine that generated that specific signature. So now if someone steals that signature, but he doesn't have the engine that generated that signature, it's useless for him. It's just a bunch of numbers. It's nothing he can do about it. He cannot use those numbers with some generic face recognition engine and use it because it's useless. It's like stealing a key without having the system of opening it. It's just a piece of metal, okay? So you need really to, once you define it, you can really do it in a way that is efficient. Yeah, so that's...
Okay. Avi, are you open to pilots, to test it, to see how it goes?
Yes, of course. Pilot, we all the time doing with a lot of company. And this issue, it's very important. And we can take a part of this pilot.
Yeah. Sharon, they keep saying, we're going to separate the information from the access. It's not going to be something that would apply to everybody and so forth. So they have some sort of defense mechanisms, and they're well prepared to speak about it already, we see. Are you ready to listen?
Well, I think that I agree with all my colleagues here that we do need to develop policies. And my vision for policy is really like having three sectors, I would say. One is the private sector using face recognition, and then the public sector, and I would also divide it to enforcement and policing, because we haven't talked about other consequences of those systems. When we use the system for policing, for example, in order to ban entrance to premises, or in order to identify a suspect, okay? So there's a consequence for it. You arrest someone, or you ban entrance for someone. Now, we need to know, this is something that we haven't mentioned yet, that we're talking about AI, and AI technologies are based on probabilities. So there are error rates. There are sometimes false positives. Okay, so you identify someone as a criminal while they're innocent because there are errors in those systems. Now, research conducted abroad revealed that those systems especially tend to have error rates with minorities. So some of the consequences may be identifying minorities which are innocent as criminals. So for example, law enforcement, in my opinion, should have a separate policies and regulations. Another thing you've mentioned is other public authorities using those systems like airports. And I do agree that in some places, facial recognition systems helped to find children who were kidnapped. So it assists us with combating human trade.
So as you mentioned, face recognition is here for a while already. Technologies are getting better and more sophisticated every day. When is this process going to get started?
You mean the policy making?
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, I'm very educated about the subject. So that means that I've researched it. And that means that we are planning to give some guidance on this issue, and hopefully even the legislature. I think that the best way to go is legislation, especially for law enforcement. We do hope that there will be legislation, at least for law enforcement. With regards to other authorities, most of the times when they have biometric systems, it's usually by law, and the law has all the mechanisms that are put in place to ensure mitigating the risks for privacy. Now we know that there is no 100% proof for data leakages and misuses, but
Yeah,
yes.
we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Avi, a big city, you know, there are demonstrations, violent demonstrations, crime. Are you under pressure more and more to provide security to people also with this kind of technology? If it's available, what are you waiting for?
I must say that we are more focused in give the police authority or urban police the means that they can act in the field, and we create two radio network. One is a DMR radio, and the second one is a PTT over cellular network. That give us the opportunity to work fast in the fields. It's a tactic solution, and we work with this solution. We have also the 2,000 cameras that give us the view of the city, and we also spread 300 kilometers of fiber optic that we have secure network, and from there we can grow to another solution like his proposal, Igal proposal. I must say, just imagine if you take a deep fake and combine with a solution of recognition. They can take your face and your voice and implement in another people. And this is the cause that we wait for the all the policy that we wait for.
Igal, obviously, this kind of information has enormous commercial value for companies on one hand. Also, in terms of security, national security has a tremendous value. The temptation will be so great to get into this and get this in data. Who's going to stop it?
So basically, I think that it's the regulators' duty to really define how.
Regulators had, Mirsham HaToshavim in Israel, like the list of all the citizens that was hacked years ago already. You trust the government?
Yeah. So first of all, I trust the government.
Oh, okay, good for you.
But as I said, what we do, at least in our product, we're protecting the information wherever we can, as much as we can. It's one thing. And second is that the data that we are collecting is not sensitive, because in order to really use it, okay, you need the system itself to interpret it. Okay, so without having the interpreter, there is no way you can use the data in an efficient
I understand
way.
what you're saying, but I'll make it harder on you after all, because we've heard this kind of stuff back when we started with social networks and emails and, you know, oh, it's going to be okay, we're not doing this, we're not reading your mails, don't worry about putting on Facebook, it's not that, it's anonymous, it's anonymous, and we know what happened. It's out there. So we have to assume that it's going to get out there.
Yeah, so basically, you know, it's always a challenge to, you know, when you invent a pen, you can write great things with your pen, and then you can also write very bad stuff that can cause crime and murder. Okay, so it's the way of using technologies in a responsible way. Okay, we are providing that technology, okay, but it's up to the users how to use those technologies. That's basically what I can say.
Yeah, Boris, shouldn't we assume that sooner or later any technology will leak, any data would find its way out?
I don't think that's true, that any data can leak and any data should get out. It's really in the power of us, the people, and the people that build those technologies to put the brakes into those data leakages.
It never happened before, you know. Never happened in Facebook, never happened in Google, never happened anywhere else. The government definitely, you know, the biometric archive that they have, I'm not sure it's not out there already.
Definitely, this is, again, the data can be leaked, but it's also in control of what data is leaked. And as Igal said, some data is not worthy. You cannot use it even if it gets out. I can give you an example. So let's assume some face recognition solution scans your face. They will put a number on this face, let's say the number 3, okay? And this number 3, it's only known for this specific system, for this specific algorithm. Now, let's say this information gets out. So the number 3 gets out. That's it. You see number 3. What can you do with that?
I don't know. I'm not an expert on encryption, but I'm sure there's an answer to that. Sharon, so you're listening to this, but we also know that, you know, sooner or later, it's going to be very hard to keep all this big secret. So do you have any ways to fight this at all, or just stalling for time? That's it. Sooner or later it will happen.
It probably would happen. I know that abroad, again, regulators have stalled the installation of such systems in public spheres or in uncontrolled spheres. But yes, there are usages which are allowed, for example, in airports, but they are very regulated and they're very privacy designed. So yes, first of all, I know that we as a regulator need to put some policies out there. And we should focus again on the police enforcement and the systems which, like live facial recognition, which pose the most risks. But yes, I assume that at some point those technologies will be implemented, but again with very careful mechanisms to prevent leakages and violation of privacy.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to comment on something that what Sharon said, which is very true. That and you hear it a lot about in the news that some solutions there might be biased, and like you say, they discriminate different minorities, or even that there are false recognitions. So first of all, what Igal said, and I think it's very important, the regulator should work with the vendors, because even in this, there are already a lot of different solutions of, first of all, which data you use in order to train those algorithms, right? So it doesn't have to discriminate. It doesn't have to, you know, the things that you hear in the news, and I'm guessing I know what you are referring to, it's actually a thing of the past, because today companies know how to build the algorithms to minimize, to really the minimum, any sort of discrimination. That's one. The second thing, which is very important to remember, the technology helps a human being. It's not a standalone. Even if there is a false recognition, still a human being in the end is taking this, for example, alert, and he himself is validating it. So it's not a standalone solution, and that's actually where a regulator should be. It's not a standalone, it's not automatic, it's an assisting to a human being to make a decision which he cannot do because of the large scale environment.
All right, in order not for everything to be negative, I want to ask you again, Igal, about the positive and the useful applications of these kind of technologies against crime, terrorism, any misconduct, whatever. Give me some examples.
Yeah, so first of all, I would say that, you can see that smart cities normally are cleaner, safer, more economically efficient. Okay, the reason that that's the way is because the decisions are taken based on data and not just based on feelings. Okay, those systems the system that we are talking here about are the systems that collect that data and enabling those data-driven decisions to be made. Okay, so I mentioned some of the benefits in investigation, faster investigation. It enables you to use your human resources much more efficiently, that's for sure. You can also use that data to generate proactive alerts on different scenarios. You can use that data to better manage your staff, the staffing. For example, you understand that if the cleaning operation is done in an efficient way. You can see people in the city that are in charge of parking violations, personnel, and others. Also, you can use that for let's say one-time large events. Unfortunately, we remember what happened in Meron just recently. And using those cameras, this information from those cameras, enabling you to use it for crowd analysis, understanding where is the crowding, what is the flow of people, how you need to act in real time in order to be able to manage that crowd in a better way, so you will avoid those disasters. So I would say that in generally, video analytics is like having eyes like everywhere at any time, and that enables you a lot of good stuff.
Your mayor would love that.
Yeah, I think that we have a use case, and last year we made the parade, gay parade, 150,000 people around the city. We have to implement the police demand, and with technology like this, we have less and less effort that we have to put.
And you use this kind of thing?
Not this technology.
No, not this kind. Okay, well, you know what? For one thing, maybe finally one day we'll know how many demonstrators were there at Rabin Square for each demonstration, once and for all. We've mentioned China. We're not sure what exactly is being done in this regard in China. We can only guess, but any other countries around the world that you know of, Boris, that are using this today?
There are many countries that are using these kind of technologies and many different in many different verticals. So again, we are in a panel to speak about safe city implementations, which is kind of the highest level, right? Because it's in the mass, it's everything that you see from the kind of the Big Brother and different movies. But most of these technologies actually implemented in many secure locations, for example, for providing access control, providing access using your face. For example, in COVID time, we saw a huge demand for that. Nobody wanted to touch anything. I work at a place, they already have my picture on my card, right? So I can opt in. I don't have to, but I can opt in to gain access with my face, okay? And I cannot. It's my choice. But the picture is already there, so I can provide the grant, and I can freely walk instead of touching, just gaining access to my workplace, for example. So this is implemented substantially worldwide.
You have sales around the world?
Yeah, it was mentioned COVID-19, so many of our customers are using the system in order for epidemiological investigations. So for example, you want to see which people were standing close to a person for 15 minutes in a ship, in a cruise ship. That's a huge challenge, and by using such technology, you do it in minutes. So that's one of the very common use cases lately with our technology.
Very, very interesting. Sharon, you want to place a bet? When will we see this in our streets?
Well, I can say that we are working on policies.
I'm not pressuring you or anything.
No, we're not pressuring
trying
at all,
to get
but
the sense of time here.
We see this coming, so we just want to be prepared. Again, for us, the most frightening thing is the police usages. But then again, also public bodies, yes, we want to have regulations regarding the usages.
But are we talking what, years, dozens of years, months, what?
Maybe we will have, I can't say, I don't
Decades,
have a timeline.
what?
But probably we'll have maybe some pilots and some discussions. And again, when a public body does it, it's usually under a legislation. For example, we have those things in airports, so it's no problem because it's one-to-one. You go with the camera, you have your identifier, and there's another system that matches you. But when we talk about cameras that capture everyone who's walking, that's a big problem for us. And I don't see us allowing this very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Boris, you've mentioned, I think, AI, machine learning. This is going more and more sophisticated. Where are we heading in the future of this?
Yeah, so it's a good thing that it's getting so sophisticated because in the past you had solutions that were not so accurate, that were discriminating, maybe biased, etc. The technology, the fact that it's evolving, it actually enables us, the vendors, to create more secured solutions, more accurate solutions, less biased solutions, less anything that is bad, and much more of the good. So AI, it's just a fundamental of this technology. Maybe in a few years we'll have kind of another basis to develop on. But today, that's what basically drives these kind of technologies.
Are you competitors, or is it different technology?
In a way, we're competitors, but I think each company has a bit different focus in terms of the products.
Like what? What's your focus?
So our focus is more on the 3 levels, as I said, of investigation from one side, proactive alerts and BI, collecting BI information with a very wide range of different types of analytics, including license plate recognition and people's attributes, hats, bags, and things like that. So basically, we're not very focused on face recognition. Face recognition is just one feature in the overall portfolio of BriefCam.
And your expertise is, your focus?
Yeah, so we focus more on the face recognition side and body recognition for basically sometimes same use cases and a lot of the times actually different use cases. As I mentioned, for example, access control. For example, onboarding, authentication, using your face if you want to for loyalty programs for retail, for example. Shortening queue for example, in an airport, and technology which is already implemented across the US. If you want to, you can use it.
How accurate is this? What's the percentage of accuracy of face recognition?
There is no percentage because it's very dependent on the environment, the infrastructure, the camera, the network, a lot of stuff. So yeah, there is no number we can put on it.
Okay. Avi, what's your guess? When are we going to see something like that, if at all?
I I'm looking to Sharon, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
asking
that,
about your guess.
I
Do you
think,
have a guess?
Yes, my guess that we come pilot next year because the technology don't wait. It's like moving you and push you ahead. So we have to arrive. The motto normally is to do more with less materials or personal
Okay, so that's
staff.
interesting. You're saying a test pilot within a year or next year. That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you running tests around the world anywhere?
Yeah, that's a normal, I would say, a selling cycle is people that are doing POVs, proof of values, to the system, because it's state-of-the-art technology. So we need to prove our customers first that it brings them value. We don't call it concept because the concept is proved. So it's just a matter of proving the value for those customers. So yes, we are doing that all the time. Customers are doing that. Once they get the value of the system, they're buying it.
Give me an example of what kind of customers, except for cities.
Yeah, I cannot get into specific names,
No,
of course,
generally.
but definitely we talk about, you know, like cruise ships, like, you know, cruise lines. It's a big you know, major vertical for us. Law enforcement, of course, most, you know, obviously in many countries law enforcement are using our equipment. Different retail customers are using the equipment in order to understand their environment, to
Like
improve
in
their
malls,
operation.
like in malls and
For
commercial
example,
areas.
yeah, exactly. So that enables them to analyze and see whether, for specific areas, how many males versus females are stopping by, what is the traffic, and improve their operation. For example, there is a new desk of food in a specific place. They want to see how is it accepted, how many people are getting to that specific table of new type of food, and so on. So this is kind of a tool to improve your operation, and with a very clear ROI.
And big data also. So, I mean, like this person is eating now this sandwich, and I have his Facebook also, so I can know what he had for breakfast as well, and how many kids, and so forth.
Now, we are not collecting the data for the faces at those applications.
You will, don't worry.
Yeah.
Your kind of customers, Boris?
Sorry again?
Your kind of customers, of clients of this technology.
Yeah, so the customer are very, again, you can imagine that any customer that wants to understand who the person is in front of him for various use cases. I can give you an example. Let's say it's a plant, a manufacturing plant, and they have a specific zone with explosive materials, and only specific individuals can be there. And they can, for example, they can implement access control with face recognition, but let's assume that I'm allowed and you're not. And I use my face to open the door, but we both get in, right? So using our kind of technology, and this kind of technology, you can get an alert that an unknown person is located now in this room. Now that's a compliance threat, it's a security threat, it's a lot of, it touches the owner of the factory in many different places where he wants to be aware of this incident. Actually, businesses can be fined for this kind of activity. So these are the kind of the good, as you asked before, the good implementation of using face recognition.
So Sharon, I'm thinking we see commercial implementations here, and that is not necessarily being regulated by the government. So maybe that's the way this technology is getting in.
I disagree because we regulate all markets, private sectors and public sectors. So even private sectors have to adhere to the Privacy Protection Act and to our data security regulations. So definitely, but when, again, we have a scale of usages, and the scale reflects on the scale of the privacy risks for the data. So what Boris was talking about is, of course, less concerning. But if we talk about commercial usages, for example, when you sit in a taxi cab and you have this facial recognition system seeing you, studying you in order to give you commercials, for example, so that's problematic. Even although it's private sector, it's still something that we would regulate. With regards to service private sector, the main thing that we would ask for is you usually when your data is being processed, you have to give your consent. So we would always ask for an alternative. For example, you want to go into a line, but you want to go faster, then you have the face recognition option, but you can also have the regular option, and therefore you had consent. Now, even if you went on this specific alternative, we will still demand data security controls and purpose limitation usages. And there are a lot of things in our regulations that will be applied on those kinds of usages, which we will allow, and some of them are even taking place right now. Again, I can open my phone with my picture. So this is something that is going on, but it's less concerning. We're more concerned about facial recognition systems, which are placed in public, uncontrolled spheres.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Boris, do you use this, or do they use this in big sports events, music events, in stadiums, stuff like that?
Definitely, yes. That's one of the use cases when the regulation allows, which many countries do allow.
Countries where they have many hooligans in the football games, for example.
That's one use case, yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the use cases that can be used for.
Right. Any other remarks before we wrap up?
Just to say that Maccabi Haifa already do a pilot with this technology to secure the people that are interested to the field, and they want to get out all the hooligans, and with this material they can work.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I've heard about this kind of thing years ago. They used it in England when they have the major problem there, and they used to ban people from coming in. I personally think that your technology is coming in, and it's going to be very hard to stop it. And Sharon, a couple of words from you.
I think that since the future is here, we actually don't have a choice. We just have to collect the data, but use it very, very smart, in a smart way, and that's what we have to do.
And cross our fingers, because we haven't been quite successful so far when it comes to privacy and controlling data, but that's life, and that's tech life, I guess. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.